Hey F1 fans, welcome. Here's my video for after the Qatar race. Let's get started. It was a pretty exciting race. Max won his third championship in the sprint race as Perez scored no points and can no longer get enough points to beat Max, even if he wins every single race for the rest of the season and Max scores 0. And Max didn't actually even win the sprint race. He finished in P2, but even P6 would have been enough with Perez scoring 0. So congratulations, Max. Go, Super Max. I'm a big Max fan, so I'm happy I would love to see him get 4. But, we'll see. Things change. The race also brought extreme conditions for the drivers. Of course, in Qatar, it was an extreme hot and humid temperature to begin with. So, of course, the cars were very hot. And then it was a track with many high-speed corners, which means the drivers have a lot of high G-forces and heavy braking to muscle through. This is the main reason they have to be athletes, right? And then there was the 18-lap tire change mandate. So slowing a bit to manage your tire wear was not necessary. It just wasn't a thing in this race because they would easily last the 18 laps. And so that meant no rest, just maximum push every lap, doing every lap like it was a quali lap. So all that together, and the drivers were just wiped out at the end. And everyone was talking about how this needs to change, but very shortly they realized, well, we've already changed it because next year's Qatar race is going to be 6 weeks later than this year's race. So it should be cooler, and a lot of this should relax down a bit. And of course, the tire thing was a one-off. It probably won't happen in the same way next year. But because of all of that, instead of the usual tire management strategies, teams had to deal with new strategy challenges around the 18-lap limit. So some teams had mostly used tires available for the main race, having spent so many during quali and sprint quali and the sprint race. So the number of pit stops was just crazy as a result. I'm not going to go into that in this video. I'm going to actually look for someone else's video that covers just, holy smokes, the amount of pit stopping that was going on, and people, of course, falling back and having to crunch back through the track. So it was really like non-stop interesting race because of that. And it must have been a uniquely challenging day for the strategists. All right, so for our drivers, two drivers changed places this week. Bottas had a great race starting in P9 with upgrades on the car. He was able to hold his own and finish in P8, gaining 4 points. Hülkenberg qualified in P7 for the sprint race, but then got sandwiched by Perez and Ocon, and although he got going again, none of them got to finish the sprint race. So where he qualified well, he didn't get to finish. In the main race, he started P14, finished P16, so just no points, and thereby getting passed by Bottas this week. As for the rest of the drivers, Perez started from the pit lane due to a power unit change after car repairs were necessary after his crash in the sprint race. He had to crunch through the pack. Carlos Sainz didn't even start because of a gas leak in his car. Logan Sargent had to retire due to feeling really bad in lap 42, just due to the grueling race conditions this weekend, plus starting out the day with flu-like symptoms the morning of the race. So I can't imagine going through what they all went through anyway, let alone if you're like starting to feel like, oh, I might be getting the flu. So no bad there. Logan Sargent, feel better, come back strong. Track limit penalties abounded. Perez and Gasly received 3 5-second time penalties. And this is really bad because you have to get basically 5 infringements in order to get a penalty. So these guys really struggled to stay on track. Stroll and Albon each received 2 5-second time penalties. And both McLarens, not in the race, but qualifying poorly for the race due to excellent quali laps deleted due to track limits. So they also managed to mess up really good laps when it really counted. So they both had to do a recovery race of sorts. The two Mercedes took each other out at lap 1 of the race. I mean, the drama. So I don't remember the last time this happened. Hamilton got out entirely, while George managed to continue and finish in P4 after starting in P2 before the knockout. So not at all a bad recovery race for George. Alonso, starting in P4, got compromised by the Mercedes madness in front of him, but still managed to finish P6 after recovering from that. Oscar Piastri, on the other hand, started in P6, but capitalized on the Mercedes accident. He was in the right place at that right time, moved straight up to P2, and finished there. He held his own. Lando Norris, also running a recovery race, moved up from P6 to P10, from P10 to P6 in the first lap craziness, then continued to chomp through the field and almost caught Oscar near the end, but ended up just a second behind him, finishing in P3. So another great recovery race for him. In terms of the points and where everyone's standing, Ocon pulls closer to his rivals as he scores 6 points in the race, while Gasly and Stroll score nothing all weekend. Ouch. Norris widens the gap on Russell and starts closing in on the Ferraris. We'll see if there are enough races ahead to catch them by the end of the season or not, but the McLarens are definitely faster at this point. And Alonso strengthened his hold on P4 because both Sainz and Hamilton did not finish. So yay, Alonso. Okay. All right, for the teams, we actually have a position swap as well. Alfa Romeo's upgrades proved successful, with both drivers scoring points this week and moving ahead of their rival Haas. So yay, Bottas and Zhou. And McLaren is fast descending upon Aston Martin, with both drivers consistently on podiums, while Aston Martin continues to be Team Alonso, who has single-handedly brought in 80% of the team's points this season. So yay, Alonso, all hats off. I'm not sure what's going on for Lance. He's really in a bad place, it seems. He could barely speak to the interviewers after some of the races this weekend. He is pissed, and the car is not working for him. And I do feel drivers, when they get into that spot, I mean, you develop certain instincts and a certain style, and then you get a car that's just not that. And whatever you're doing is wrong, and that's a lot of muscle memory to overcome. So yeah, that's it. Our next race is in Austin, not this weekend, but the weekend after. Daniel Ricciardo's favorite location, and he is expected to be back to racing then. So no more Liam Lawson. I can't wait to see how Ricciardo does in the AlphaTauri car now that we've seen what Liam Lawson was able to do. And when will Ricciardo score his first points? Let me know what you think in the comments. It will be very interesting to see. Till then, take care and see you after the next race.